Mark, can you tell us, how do you go about balancing work and family?
Well, number one, family is first and work is second. But, that's an easy thing to say, but it's a lot harder to do. I try and make sure I'm definitely around for the weekends. During the week, I travel a fair amount. When the season starts, I often have games on the weekends. But I have a little 5-year-old girl. I have daddy date nights on Monday nights. I try and do. And, when I get back from a game, if I travel, what I'll try and do is travel, be there, say, on a Friday night and get the first flight out so I'm home early on the day on Saturday.
Where did you learn, or where did you get your strategy on balancing work and family from?
I think it goes back to my grandparents and really my father. My dad ran a big company in Canada, and he was great about trying to find the time, even at a young age when he was building his business, of trying to find the time for me and my brother. There's a few things he always did. Number one, whenever we called, whether he was in a board meeting or with investors in the company, he would always take our phone call. Number two, he would try and be around on weekends. Friday night dinners were really important in our family, but weekends up at the farm or just doing stuff with me and my older brother. And, that philosophy, I think, has really carried through.
What kind of preparation did you and your wife sort of go through before you became parents? Talking about these types of issues. Did you talk about them?
I think, I wasn't commissioner when we had our little girl. So I think when I did become commissioner and my schedule got a lot busier, we had to spend more time thinking through that. So that's why, on Monday nights, I try and do that with my little girl. And my wife has her own company, so we try and really work on our schedules to make sure that, either one of us can be around to put her to bed or one of us takes us to school in the morning, and have that balance between us.
What have you learned, if anything, from sort of the environment that you're in, from a lot of the players, let's say, or your own team, in terms of navigating career and family?
Well, it's interesting. I feel it's difficult for some of our players. Half of our players are American. A lot of them leave to come up here, and their families are in the States. So, I look at it and go, well, I have it pretty good. Even though I travel a hell of a lot, I'm fortunate to be around my little girl. I think new technology, like we're doing now, a Skype interview, or I got a new iPad, I'm going to get one for my wife. So that when I'm on the road, I can have this type of conversation and put my little girl to bed. I think technology, in some ways, it can bring you closer together. You just got to make sure you turn it off when you're with the family.
What advice would you give to other dads, maybe in a similar situation, in terms of having, huge jobs, a lot of demands? The travel is really quite tricky, in terms of going about finding that balance, because it's something that a lot of Canadians struggle with these days.
I think try and do your schedule so you can get back, for the key. Well, you always have to be there for the key moments, whether it's the graduation, the birthday party, or putting your kids to bed at times. But I think figure out, can you use technology in a way to bring you closer to your kids when you're on the road. I remember my last company, I had a sales rep who would actually he would read books over the internet to his kids to put them to sleep. His wife would be in the room. You have to balance your schedule, with your spouse. So like tonight I have to be at an event, but my wife is taking our little girl to the ballet tonight. So you gotta find time for your spouse as well. It's not just about being a parent. I actually make sure that I have time that I go out alone with my wife. So that relationship is strong. So it's a juggling act. Nothing works. You can't replicate it for one person to another person. But I just think you have to be present. I mean, the key word is being present.
Do you ever feel guilty?
Sure. Yeah, I think I do. I think there's times where I'm on the road and I, could I be home? Potentially. And do I miss moments where my little girl says, "Hey, Daddy, why aren't you home?" Absolutely. But then you got to find up the other, you got to find when you're there to be present. For example, I'm also chairman of the Ontario Science Centre, so that's a great opportunity for me to take my little girl to another part of my life and take her to meetings and take her to the Science Centre. But one of the things that I'm trying to do at the Science Centre, even though technology is so important, is put up signs and say, "Put away your BlackBerry." put away your work for a while, and so that you are present with your children at that time, and you're not focused on what email just came in, because those things can wait.